How are you? So I'm going to do another video on my own. Thanks to all of the beautiful invitations to do so from all the comments from you guys, either on YouTube or in my Facebook group, or whether you've messaged me privately in Messenger or WhatsApp or on Instagram or Twitter. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Really enjoyed all of the comments and it's given me the invitation to give myself permission to do more of these videos. So, carrying on, the topic that came to mind for me was the phrase that gets used in the course, in the workbook, over 40 times. So, if we need an indication as to how important it is, then obviously that's it. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created me. Now, when this was percolating, and I realized that this was a topic that I wanted to address, it took me to the memory of episode 10 in the podcast, probably like maybe a couple of years ago now, certainly over 40 episodes ago. And this was something that I addressed in that episode as a talking point with my guest. And the reason I wanted to talk about it then is the reason why I still feel it's pertinent now, is because in that statement, the word that I felt I could brush over was the word still. I am not a body, big hitter. I am free, big hitter. I'm still as God created me. And I found myself thinking about the word still. And as a consequence, I had a look in the dictionary for the different definitions of the word still. We've got the adjective, not moving or making a sound. You've got the noun, deep silence and calm, stillness. We've got the adverb, up to and including the present or the time mentioned, even now or then as formerly. And then the verb, make or become still. So I'm not a body, I am free, I am still as God created me. So God created me still. Stillness is quiet. Stillness is silence. Silence is uninterrupted forever. Stillness is uninterrupted forever. In the Course, it says, God knows you only in peace, and this is your reality. So, stillness, the cessation of thoughts, the space where nothing arises, but everything is. Our nature. We think of it as a substrate in relation to all of the activities and the agitations that take place on top of it. But what we're told is The stillness is the real, the true aspect of our being, of our nature. And everyone that we know, including ourselves, is always seeking for our own nature, whether we're doing that consciously or unconsciously. We're seeking our nature. And our nature is stillness. And stillness is peace. So how do we define peace? You can say that I feel peace. In the Course it says, I could see peace instead of this. You can still use the word feel as long as you've made that differentiation to understand that you're not talking about a sensation that arises in the body, some sort of chemical release that travels through your system, and you identify that with that and say, I feel peace. So I can feel peace. But when I say or think I feel peace, it's the peace that is a reflection of the stillness. That's my natural state as God created me. So why does the Course drill this in time and time again? I'm not a body. Let's take that in isolation. I'm not a body. I'm not a point of localized consciousness contained within a form that is born, lives for a period of time, and then dies. In the Course, it says it's a joke to think that time can come to circumvent eternity, and so there is no time. I'm not a body. There is no time. I'm free. I am free. I am still as God created me. I'm in this uninterrupted state of peace and stillness and silence. But my human experience has brought me to a place where I identify with the thoughts in my mind as giving me a window into what I am. But these thoughts come and go. They're not still. Ramana Maharshi made reference to the ancient Indian observations that in order to define reality, it has to be there all the time. It has to have being to exist. It has to shine by its own light. The only one thing in their tradition which meets this criteria is the unmanifested Brahman. In Course language, this is God is, and we cease to speak. It's there all the time. It has being, it exists, it shines of its own light. Thoughts are not there all the time. They seem to have being, seem to exist. They seem to shine of their own light in terms of mental activity, but they're fleeting. They come and go. So if I'm thinking, are thoughts actually real? Is any thought real? Or is it the space in between the thoughts that shines of its own light, has being and exists, and is there all the time? The thought arises, I give it my attention, it stays in my conscious awareness for the amount of time I give it my attention, and then it falls away to replace by another thought, to be replaced by another thought, and another thought, and another thought. I've tuned my radio in to the station where all the noise happens, thinking that's where my identity is. Thinking that's where my identity is. And through allowing myself to be taught, I'm told that my identity is in between the noise and the interference of the broadcast on the radio station. God knows me only in peace, and this is my reality. I am still as God created me. My body and my mind is not natural to me. That's why the definition of happiness that the world can pin onto our state of being is not the same happiness that God wills for me. God's will for me is perfect happiness. Perfect happiness is my alignment with my natural state, in complete harmony with what I am. What I am is what God is. God is love, and therefore so am I. It's the agitations on the surface of my mind that cause the blocks which hide my natural state from me, blocking my inherent access to happiness, perfect happiness. I seem to be surrounded by clouds made from thought. In deep sleep, I'm unaware of my mind. I'm unaware of my body, but I still exist. Stillness, the cessation of thoughts, thoughts causing the forms, colours and shapes of the universe, none of which are permanent. None of which can be a true reflection of the unmanifested God. So thinking isn't real. Thinking about thinking isn't real. Thinking about thinking isn't real. These are my private thoughts, of which I am aware, but which do not exist. But my real thoughts are in my mind. and I'd like to find them. They're behind the noise, in between the radio stations on the dial, underneath the activity of my mind. Permanent, existing, shining in its own light. In the Course, it tells us that the Holy Spirit can use everything for his purpose of awakening us to the memory of God. So, of course, he can use the body. The body can be a vehicle through which the Holy Spirit emanates outward, the transmission of perfect happiness through actions and words, through silence and stillness. In the triangulation of mind, body, and spirit, historically, I've always felt a connection with my spirit and my mind, and struggled to be conscious of the fact that I'm in a body. That might be the recognition that I'm sitting in a position that's making me feel uncomfortable. That I'm hungry. That I need to go for a pee. That I'm in a situation I don't want to be in. A place I don't want to be in. And that sensory data that's picked up with my body and noticed with my mind helps me to identify what peace is, what peace isn't. The ego can hide trauma in the body, hide trauma in the subconscious mind. If we bring all of the darkness to the Holy Spirit, nothing can stand, nothing can hide. There are no degrees to the work. The work is to know thyself. To know thyself, all we have to do is to remember what we are as a reflection of God. But with the Holy Spirit at the driving wheel, my body can help me to meditate. I can use the sounds as a sensory data to point me towards the lack of three-dimensional perspective. What does that mean? It means I'm sitting, resting, and listening with a quiet mind. And yet I can hear sounds. I can hear a car driving far away. I can hear a clock ticking nearby. I can hear the wind. I can then notice how all of those sounds are present. But distance isn't real. From an audio perception of 3 dimensions, now everything becomes on the same dimension. I use it as a way to not buy into the belief that I am a body. I use my body and the information my body presents to my mind to show me that I'm not a body. I prepare myself for the meditation, checking. Am I storing tension in my body? Am I as relaxed as I could be? I get this information from my body, but I'm not a body. I'm free. I'm still as God created me. But with the Holy Spirit's purpose, I can check over my form physically and assess the data to ensure that I'm properly relaxed and I'm not storing tension anywhere. So that when I make time for the silence is welcome to the maximal effect. And then I'm free, and then I'm still as God created me. And then there's thinking. And then there's thinking about thinking. And then there's thinking about not thinking. And then there's a period of not thinking. And then there's a thought that says, hey, I was not thinking then. None of it's permanent. Only the stillness, only the silence is permanent. Not the silence that the ears pick up, the silence that the mind feels. Again, we're using the word feel as a concession. We could say the mind knows, recognizes, sees. And there's a feeling of coming home to yourself. The shoulders drop even more. You checked to make sure you weren't storing tension, and now the shoulders drop even more. But we're poised in this meditation. We've set ourselves up physically to have a physical demonstration of the fact that we know that what we are doing is of the utmost importance. We're making space for the memory of God to enter our mind and our experience, so that our familiarity with our natural state increases. We do this in isolation to strengthen the connection, but ultimately with a view to take that connection to that silence, into the mayhem and the noise. And by undoing our investment in what isn't real, we then become a representative for the Holy Spirit in the world of form. And then, as the Course says, you'll look like other people, you'll still look the same, but you'll be more serene. You'll have less lines on your forehead. And those who recognize you as their own will go, ah. And those who don't recognize you will have something in their mind sparked. So by staying in your lane, by cleaning your own backyard, and then operating in the world in whatever you do, your presence that you hand over to the Holy Spirit, so it becomes the Holy Spirit's presence, makes a contribution to the energetic field that other beings are sharing with you. Then whatever you do, whether it's work or play, is infused with love. How could we accurately describe silence using words? How could we accurately describe formlessness using words? In the ancient Chinese system of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu described the situation like so. The Tao that can be spoken of is not the Tao. In A Course in Miracles, once again, we are back to God is, and we cease to speak. The memory of God comes to a quiet mind. I am still as God created me. I'm a thought in the mind of God. My mind is part of God's. When some people interpret A Course in Miracles, they suggest that you shouldn't enjoy being in a body because this world was made as an attack on God. A malevolent intention. How is it possible to attack God? When did this attack occur? Were attack thoughts possible when we were in a state of perfect oneness? The Holy Spirit needs happy learners to have a happy dream. to reflect God's will for perfect happiness. In A Course in Miracles, we're told that I once asked you to sell everything you have, give the money to the poor, and follow me. And this was a metaphor to explain that if you remove your investment from what isn't real, then you become a shining light which points towards what is real. And the poor are simply people who've invested wrongly. They've invested their beliefs in the wrong thought system. We've all done it. We've all done it for decades. We're all still doing it on a daily, hourly basis. But because we recognized that there must be another way, we surrendered. And once we surrendered, we created a space. Figuratively, the space was already there. We allowed the space to be seen. This all happened in a body. This all appeared to happen in a body. This all seemed to happen in a body. But I'm not a body. I'm free, for I am still as God created me. So when I was contemplating what I wanted to bring to the table in this video, I found myself unconsciously, in as much as it wasn't my own direction, searching through some folders in my computer, finding some things I'd written over a year ago. I didn't know were in there. I don't remember writing. One of these pieces is called Be Still. So let's take this theoretical knowledge, these pointings, these examples, and let's have an experiential application together as one. You can trust my voice. You can look into my eyes and know that you trust my intention for your healing, because your healing is my healing. And I've chosen second place that I may come first. And I love you. And I share God's will for you, for me, for perfect happiness. So however you feel comfortable, Let's apply some of these principles from today. Let's listen to the sounds, but not be deceived by the depth perception. Is my voice actually truly further away than the sound of your own breathing? Is your heartbeat louder than the wind outside? Or is there just one activity that presents itself as sound that seems to take many forms? Is your body relaxed? Is there some tension you're hiding somewhere in your form that when you give it focus, you realize you can drop further into the peaceful state that's your natural inheritance? Are you sitting in a way that demonstrates the importance of this undertaking? Get yourself ready. Close your eyes and be still. Be still and know that I am. All tension comes from memory. A memory of events gone by, a memory of events anticipated in the future. Lose the memory. Safely let go of the memory in this beautiful moment. Be still and know that I am. You are God's Son, in whom He is well pleased. You are God's Son, in whom He is well pleased. He is well pleased. No memory. No memory. Just the sound of this voice speaking to the one mind we share in the one moment that is now. The eternal now. No divisions. No separation. Nothing to define. Nothing that isn't an isness. Love is. God is. Peace is. The holy instant we share with minds joined. Be still. be still and know I am. I am. Amazing. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Another word for salvation is freedom. Only God's plan for freedom will work. And I am free. God is the mind with which I think. My holiness envelops everything I see. God is the strength in which I trust. Myself is ruler of the universe. The power of decision is my own. When the memory of God comes to the quiet mind, the relief, the extent of the relief is as inexpressible as it is to talk about what silence is using words. It's that same feeling that we've had in a much, much smaller proportion when we wake up from a dream or a nightmare. And we're so relieved that it isn't true. What happened isn't true. Awakening is a very, very ordinary, simple process. We're just remembering what we are. And as we remember what we are, we remember what God is. And then we cease to speak because we are still as God created us. So to finish today, let's have a look at something that the Course would point us towards. Can you imagine what a state of mind without illusion is? How it would feel? Try to remember when there was a time, perhaps a minute, maybe even less, when nothing came to interrupt your peace, when you were certain you were loved and safe. Then try to picture what it would be like to have that moment be extended to the end of time and to eternity. Then let the sense of quiet that you felt be multiplied 100 times, and then be multiplied another 100 more. And now you have a hint, not more than just the faintest intimation of the state your mind will rest in when the truth has come. Without illusions, there could be no fear, no doubt, and no attack. When truth has come, all pain is over. There's no room for transitory thought and dead ideas to linger in your mind. Truth occupies your mind completely, liberating you from all beliefs in the ephemeral. They have no place because the truth has come, and they are nowhere. They cannot be found, for truth is everywhere, forever now. When truth has come, it does not stay a while to disappear or change to something else. It does not shift and alter its form, nor come and come again. It stays exactly as it always was, to be depended upon in every need, and trusted with a perfect trust in all the seeming difficulties and the doubts that the appearances the world presents engender. They will merely blow away when the truth corrects the errors in your mind. When truth has come, it harbors in its wings the gift of perfect constancy and love, which does not falter in the face of pain, but looks beyond it steadily and sure. Here is the gift of healing, for the truth needs no defense, and therefore no attack is possible. Illusions can be brought to the truth to be corrected, but the truth stands far beyond illusions and cannot be brought to them to turn them into truth. Truth does not come and go, nor shift, nor change, in this appearance now and then in that, evading capture and escaping grasp. It does not hide, it stands in open light, in obvious accessibility. It's impossible that anyone could seek it truly and would not succeed. Today belongs to truth. Give truth its due, and it will give you yours. You are not meant to suffer and die. Your Father wills these dreams be gone. Let truth correct them all.